Share, Command Shift R. All right. Washington state law requires that I tell you that we are recording. So
Thank you. Happy to start over. My name is Amber Williams. I work for Spokane County Library District, and within my capacity as the community librarian of the Deer Park area, which is, up in northern Spokane County, I developed poetry slams for high school students. See, that's my old job title, managing librarian of strategic initiatives. We're not exactly ordering new business cards right now, given that none of us are in our buildings. In fact, some of us are in our kitchens because all of our workspaces are taken up by other people. But making do in the ways they can, right? And these poetry slams have grown from the Riverside School District. They have a high school, the Riverside Rams, and they do something called the Ram Slam. And I got invited to be a judge in 2015. And I spent 6 hours judging high school poets, more than 70 performances. Talk about judge fatigue, decision fatigue. It's a very, very real thing. And it was overall, though, a really amazing experience. This high school completely has this support for this poetry culture, and that they have this very successful event that the whole school rallies around. Poetry is really saying a lot. And it was through discussions with their teachers that said, well, how do we grow this? I was like, well, I'm, as your community librarian for this greater geographic area, essentially a convener. And so I reached out to other high schools. And in 2016, we had the first Northern Slam. And 3 high schools competed in it. And let's see. So Eastern fit into it because at that time it was Mindy Breen who was teaching essentially, was it professional practice, Colin? I mean, this is several years ago. Go ahead. Now you're muted. But anyways, so Mindy's class had a competition in their class to design posters and t-shirts promoting the event.
That was Capstone.
Capstone, okay. And so every poet who got up on stage for the Northern Slam was gifted a t-shirt. This is all funded by the Friends of the Deer Park Library, who raise money through selling books, and they pay for cash prizes for the students. They bought them all a t-shirt. They paid judges from the greater Spokane literary scene to come up north to judge them, paid for an MC, and it was a really amazing event in 2016, and became very clear by feedback from everyone involved that they wanted to continue doing it moving forward. So we have, and 2020 saw the 5th annual Northern Slam, which featured, again, it's grown. There are more schools involved all the time. And in 2018, we launched the Valley Slam. And so high schools from the Valley started participating in their own. And then students, the top placing students from the Northern Slam compete against the top placing students of the Valley Slam and the Grand Slam. I realize that I can't see all hands because not everyone has cameras on, but reactions. How many of you guys know what a poetry slam is? Yeah, okay. So for just a handful of people who don't know what a poetry slam is, it's competitive poetry. As Fitz Fitzpatrick, who is most commonly our MC for it, explains, it's a way to make poetry into a sport so that it gets more attention. It's poetry with points. And what I love most about it is what I witnessed that very first time at Riverside. And I had a lot of concerns because you've got students up there who are sharing really personal things. And maybe I've just watched too much TV and I think that everybody gets bullied. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's Monday gonna look like when these kids come back to school and they've shared this so personal thing about themselves? And the teacher said, no, it's not like that at all. There's never been any incidents, and that slam poetry is a culture of support for the poet. You have judges so that you can boo them, so that you can cheer the poets, you boo the judges. Everybody there is there in support of the poet. So what I found in the 2019 was when we kicked off the Grand Slam. And because I had already given them t-shirts designed by students, Colin's classes have designed the posters and the t-shirts ever since that first 2016 year when Mindy did it. And so the Grand Slam, they already had t-shirts. So I decided to do stickers, and students decided stickers for the Grand Slam. And I gave each of the poets a journal, a blank journal, and a Grand Slam sticker. And the reaction for the sticker compared to the reaction that I've gotten from years of t-shirts was very clear that they really preferred t-shirts. I mean, stickers. So this year, instead of doing t-shirts and all, the winter quarter professional practice class designed stickers for the Northern and Valley and the Grand Slams. And Colin has examples of them to show, but they were so well received, not just by the students, but by the teachers, by the staff that helped me put these on. Like, the demand for poetry stickers was really real. And it seems very early to be talking about the 2021 slams, but on my side of it, the reality is the budget I have to work with, this is money all donated by the friends groups who raise money by selling books. They're not exactly rolling in income. And so the things that I can do to help save them money involve, so I buy stickers off of Sticker Mule, and Sticker Mule is really great about doing deals on stickers. And so when I can buy them at, essentially 60% off, it means I can buy more stickers. So when we talked about this at the end of winter quarter and how if we could start the sticker process now, it would give me essentially, 11 months to be buying them when they were on sale from Sticker Mule. So I am looking for essentially a sticker pack and be able to pick from different designs, and probably, if I'm able to do it this way, I'd probably be able to print maybe 6 to 8 of them to be able to give students, the poets who compete. Yeah, they really, really loved them. The judges all asked for them, the MCs asked for them. It was, yes, very successful. Colin, do you want to show what we did from last quarter, or do you want to talk a little bit? Do you want me to talk a little bit more about the slams themselves, or fill in with questions?
Actually,
this is harder online than it is in person, you guys.
Yeah, it's very challenging. Can I add something to the poetry?
Talking to myself, and then my kids are wanting things on the side here. Yeah.
Can I add some things to the poetry slam?
Always.
I think it's very telling that you don't like poetry slams, but you're so heavily in it. No, like is the wrong word because we're being recorded. It's not your it's not how you would choose to spend your free time, right? And this is where I get really upset with designers. And this is where designers, and this is why people always say, like, wow, in professional practice, you're extra angry. No, I'm extra passionate about this. I don't want anybody to lose sight of one of the audience, about knowing your audience. So we went from t-shirts to stickers. That is a huge design thing, right? Like, to be able to recognize the fact that maybe t-shirts aren't moving as well as stickers is a huge thing to take note of. The other massive thing is to take note of is that the poets themselves, some of them are getting up on stage and confessing things to their parents and their friends for the very first time. There's I don't think it'd be an understatement to say that's a very courageous thing to do, to get up in front of someone. Like, if I ask some of you to go public speak to the class, some of you don't want to stand up in front of the class and talk about your work. How are we going to stand up in front of an employer and talk about our work? How are you going to stand up in front of a client and pitch new work? this is why I get so fired up about this, is because if some of you are just waiting for, just tell me the specs, just tell me the details, right? So I can fill in these blank spots about my project so I can get this done and never think about it ever again, you're not being a professional. And what we're trying to do is understand why this project exists. Why on earth, right? Because Amber's time, this is a part of her job, right? And money has to be allocated for her salary. Money has to be allocated for the Friends of the Library. And this is the same thing of all of your clients, right? This isn't an exercise. This is real money in real time, right? And I want you to be able to understand, right? I think you're very lucky that you can go back and rewatch early on in this class and really try to understand why do all these different slams exist, right? And what is the value in that, right? And community has been brought up quite a bit, right? And it's like, if your answer is why are we making stickers because Colin told me to, right? We're doing this wrong.
So Colin outed me. I'm not a huge poetry fan. Thanks a lot. It's on record now. But I am a very huge fan of, like, the library's role in the community is to support it. And we do these things where essentially community conversations. We ask people about their aspirations. We don't ask people about what they think the library should be doing. It's not a focus group. We ask about aspirations and barriers and ideas for how to get to those aspirations. And I heard a lot on the north side about just, while Spokane is in many ways a thriving art center for the inland Northwest, Deer Park is not. And it's 16 miles to the edge of the city, and there's no public transportation, and there's just a lot of barriers to how to get to these cultural events that are happening. And so it really became a focus for me in the community to bring cultural events to the north side of Spokane County. And poetry is very much one of those things. And here I already had a school that was passionate about it. And it was easy to, because they had a framework, it was easy for me to implement it at other schools. So all of the schools that participate now in one of these slams have an in-school slam to pick their team. So they compete in their classes to get a spot at the in-school one, and then the in-school slam happens, and then the top 3 to 5, depending on how many teams or how many schools are participating in my slams. And so it's this, multi-tier process to make it on your school team, to make it to the Northern Slam, to make it to the Valley Slam, and then to compete in the Grand Slam. And all said and done, when you talk about, for these, like the Central Valley School District, University High, they have the Titan Slam. And their students have to RSVP that they're coming because their auditorium only seats 450 people. And those are the only, there's 2,000 people in that school, and it fills up every time. So you talk about these students who are getting up on stage and sharing something. And I remember the first Titan Slam, one of the students I overheard, because I was there judging it, and I overheard a guy a seat over from me, a student, say, "Who is he?" And the person next to him say, "He's the senior, but I've never heard him speak before." Like, the stories that come out of this is one of those, quality over quantity when we talk about measuring and impact, and that, like, the stories that come out of the students who are involved in these slams make it so worthwhile every year, regardless of the amount of work it is. Because it's a big undertaking for me, and well worth it every single time. Like, I know that these are life-changing experiences for a lot of these students. And while I'm not passionate about poetry, I certainly am passionate about that.
And that is the professional lesson right there, y'all. Like, that was very well said. You're going to get clients that it's right. You might not be into. You might be a Nike fan, and Adidas is going to come to you. And what are you going to say to it to Nike to Adidas? I like Nike shoes better, but tell me what you want me to design for you. Right. And so a lot of professionalism is caring enough about the project as much as the client does. Right. Something that has never been said about me is he doesn't really care about, we're paying him, he doesn't seem to care about this project. You need to care as much about a project as a client does. And what we're practicing here is don't wait to get paid with actual money, right? To start caring about something, right? Designers talk a whole lot about the quote unquote design empathy. Design empathy has just been lobbied about. And I'm calling a lot of bullshit on designers. I'm like, prove it. Prove that you actually care about what you're designing for, not about what the thing that you designed. Because these stickers are going to fade. These stickers are going to get thrown away, right? And these stickers are going to be forgotten. That's the artifact. That's the deliverable, right? That is a checklist. What we're trying to do, though, is make something a lot more impactful, a lot longer lasting. That's what design is about. Okay.
Do you want to share Bailey, Colin? All right. So what he's loading up is, let's see, this is 2017, the second annual Northern Slam. And this is Bailey Williams. And she is wearing this t-shirt from that year. And this is, she won. And I just, you know, because this one is really easy and already clipped together, I'd love to share it with you.
Okay. Yep, that is one of the t-shirts. If we were meeting in person, I would bring out all the past posters, all the past t-shirts, and we can see the entire array of designs. I'm going to play this real quick and let me know if you can hear the audio. No?
It should be a little bit louder.
Right. It needs to be louder. Agreed. Thank you. We're all on the same page.
How do we do that?
I'm sitting in this room, a white room, old and musty and curling at the edges. Butterfly stickers on white walls.
Yeah, it's still pretty low.
It's way low. Can you turn the volume up on the video right there? Because I keep moving my mouse like I can click it.
Yeah. No, that's the...
You're right, that's all the way up.
That's all the way up.
Is your volume low? You want to take out your headphones and see if...
My volume actually hurts. It's so high.
Yeah, I have my thing all the way up on my side too.
Let's see here. We got it all the way up screen.
Is it up on your device?
Colin, is your computer volume up all the way? You said your ears hurt, so I assume so.
Let's see here.
Maybe the volume mixer is low.
All right. I mean, if you see me yank out my headphones, you're going to know why. All right. Let's try this again.
This poem's called Unfair. I'm sitting in this room.
Is that better? All right.
It's better. It's better. But
it's two and a half.
Bailey.
Yeah, I will provide a link to it in the notes, but we'll watch this 2.5 minutes.
This poem's called Unfair. I'm sitting in this room, a white room, old and musty and curling at the edges. Butterfly stickers on white walls.
Oh, audio's gone.
We lost all the audio. Colin, when you muted, we lost audio. Colin, did you hear me? You muted and we lost audio. No, he doesn't have in his headphones. You call him.
No, if he's...
You're still muted.
Okay. I think what we're going to have to do is share this link with the class and go from there.
And actually, the other thing you should share, Colin, is not just the link to Bailey, if you want to. I mean, so this one is just her and her 2.5 minutes. We do film and record and share out the entire Northern Valley and Grand Slams. And they are all archived and preserved on SCLD's YouTube channel and SpokaneCreators.org. I know that Colin has links to all of the above to share. So, yes. So Bailey has got this great poem called Darlene, which is about her dying grandmother and how she hates her. And it was, I mean, the things that people share, and sometimes they are, you know, like one year I remember at the Ram Slam, you know, sure, there's like 60 different performances, but like 10% of them were about cutting. And sometimes the things are very light and fun. Probably no surprise in, you know, the last couple of years, there's been a lot about politics. There's been a lot about, you know, school shootings, and they're sharing sometimes things that are uplifting and sometimes things that are very heavy, but they are getting up on stage and they are sharing in front of hundreds of their peers and their families, and you're still sharing your screen. Heads up, Colin. So, yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Yes. No. Do you want to? I think that kind of wraps up what I have to say about the slams. Again, I feel like this is a challenge, I admit, for me. Like, I'm an extrovert, and not having people to respond to what I'm saying makes me feel like I'm talking to a wall, maybe a little to myself.
Well, that might be a good time to now just kind of open the floor up for questions from the students. On Monday, what day is this? On Monday, we went through this process of a creative brief where they're beginning to formalize what they need to know to ask a client. So I'm gonna put on my professor hat real fast. Terrible clients ask a client, what do you want me to do? Anything related to what do you want me to do specifically, like I'm a set of hands, right? Isn't a good question. What we're trying to do is kind of unpack and explore, right? Kind of peel back the layers and understand, you know, what this is all about, right? So a good question is, what are the differences between all these slams, right? I know that's a little bit confusing, right? It took us a while to kind of figure this out. And every single class has struggled, right, with identifying how each of the slams go. Up on your shared screen right now is the stickers from last quarter. Okay, last quarter was the first time that we did stickers. I'll put up links to the posters and the t-shirts from past classes, just so you can kind of get an idea of what direction we're going with this. Okay. Heads up, right? I'll say this in front of the client, right? I'm going to have you do 100 sketches. I had this class do 100 sketches. Right? These aren't initial designs, and I'm going to share after question and answers are done with Amber. I'm going to share some stories, especially about the Octopoet one. But for right now, go ahead. I'm going to unmute everybody. Feel free to mute and unmute yourself, and or if your audio is poor, go ahead and put it into the chat, and I'll read out your question. Sounds good? All right. Go ahead.
How long do these slams like last?
So there's 2 rounds, 15 poets in round 1, and then the top 7 go on to round 2. They are original work, and there are point penalties if you go over 3 minutes and you're under 60 seconds. So it works out to be about 2 hours all in. So 15 poets, and then we do an intermission, and then the top 7 poets do a second poem. And then the combined scores from round 1 and round 2 are how we find first, second, and third place for cash prizes.
Do you guys do like themes at all, or is it just they come up with their own stories? They're just all original.
They are all original, and so the way slam poetry rules work is there are absolutely no props. It is just you and the mic, which is why a lot of times you just see, you know, when you see the posters and stuff, I mean, and the t-shirts, there's definitely some mics through there, because it's just you and the mic on the stage. You can't have a team. You can have more than one person performing a poem at the same time. And you can incorporate music, but it all has to be music you've made with yourself and your body. This year's Northern Slam had its first music piece, and they did some air fiddling where they like went like dee, 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 kind of thing, and that's totally fine and legit. And you are allowed to sample from existing works and songs, but it's sort of then you're at the judge's mercy whether or not they drop your score based on, you know, oh, I felt like that was not original enough, and maybe they'll give you a much lower score, you know, like that kind of thing. Judging is, it's completely each judge to their own. There's kind of no rhyme or reason. I give the judges a matrix and I ask them to just be consistent, and that to please not judge based on whether or not they agree with it, especially, you know, because we've seen a lot with politics come up, and if a poet does a poem that's politically based and you as a judge disagree with the sentiment of the poem, I would hate that that poet got a bad score just because you didn't like what they said versus it was a great poem. I think that was a lot of answer. Sorry.
That's good.
I got one for you. With the previous project, was there anything you saw that you believe could be improved upon?
So I can say that when I got the first round of essentially like draft stickers, the amount of like location specific stickers, you know, with like skylines and that kind of stuff, while those are all great and dandy, they were all City of Spokane. This is not the City of Spokane. I work for Spokane County Library District. We're the 11 libraries surrounding the city, and Deer Park is, like I said, 16 miles away. In Spokane Valley, while neighboring the City of Spokane, like it's not Spokane. And I think that geographic awareness is something that could have been improved on, because that, and I mean, just calling it just some of those, instead of calling it the Valley Slam, or instead of calling it the Northern versus Valley Grand Slam, it was called like the Spokane Slam, or, you know, like that kind of thing. And I can say as a client, it feels like I really wasn't heard when I see those kinds of, just like, oh, yeah, no, we're not the City of Spokane at all. Maybe I wasn't clear enough, so.
You can talk to the past professional practice class. I was livid. I was furious. Right. First, I don't know what the Spokane skyline has to do with this. We've all seen it, the clock tower, the expo, and whatever else, the convention center. Like, what the hell does that have to do with this project?
Well, because if you're designing for the Spokane Slam, it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
But
the other one here is people made up names of the organization, made up names of the slam. Like, it was pure panic. Right. And this is what was submitted to the client. I was livid.
I was more forgiving.
We talked about the Steph Curry story last class, right? Imagine being the boss of the person who kept in Kevin Durant's name for the presentation to Steph Curry. You want, right, these are things that we need to be able, this is at the professionalism part. Okay. We said no Spokane. Not the idea of Spokane, right? The word. And it was like designs were littered with that word, and right. And I mean, one student even put in the name of the wrong library system. I mean, put in the logo of the wrong library system, right? All right, yell it out. Which library system are you working with, the city or the county?
County.
Yeah. All
Thank
right.
you.
Whoever said that is correct. Okay. Yet people still put in the logo to what? Because they designed by Google, which is in my Web 3 lecture. I mean, my UX 3 lecture, because they Googled for something, and that was the first thing that came up, and then they threw it on their design. Stop designing by Google. We'll talk about this in UX 3 too.
So there's a question from Ellie in chat. And so the stickers that students have liked best. So we've only had stickers this year and then last year. So in 2019, to go along with what Colin's got up on the screen there, the student who designed these, Victoria, used that center one that has the quill, designed that quill. And my original intent had been to take that logo essentially and make it like brand the journals with it, and then that turned out to be way outside of my budget, so I printed it as a sticker instead, and I'm so glad I did, because again, like the feedback from students was they were just so excited to have stickers. So as for which ones they liked best, Colin, do you want to bring the stickers back up, please? I can share some of the feedback that I heard about all of them. And by the way, I'm not the only one who picks. This isn't just like Amber's favorites. I do get input from the teachers that I work with and other staff. And all right, so it kind of depended on where, generally speaking, the Octopoet and Bird Noises was really popular. And that one actually I did pick because I just thought it was cute and clever, and it was ready to go when Sticker Mule had a sale. And I was like, that one's cute. It's ready. I'm doing it. And it was very well liked, actually. I heard great feedback for the Game of Thrones quill throne. Like, people who were Game of Thrones fans really loved that one. Octopoet was the one that I got most requests from the judges and teachers, if they could have one too, please. I think Poetry Slam, the Supreme style sticker down at the bottom, was the one that I saw. So in between, like, I give them to the students when they check in with me at the start of the slam, and like before the slam was over on somebody's water bottle, I already saw the Poetry Slam one out and on it. The Northern Slam and Valley Slam ones, I very much want something specific to each of those slams, and I didn't have a ton to choose from because they were like the Spokane, the downtown skyline. I mean, they weren't accurate. And so these ones sort of played off of the posters from this year, and they worked for what I needed. But yeah.
Again, right? Each student did 100 times 20 students. It was about 2,000 designs, and we still had a limited number to pick from. Okay. Like, forget that I was livid. It was embarrassing for our class and our program, right? And see, and Amber, I'm going to be harsh, right? Good cop, bad cop. I'll be the bad cop on this. Is I want you to put your best foot forward. Again, professional practice is a safe place to fail. I'm not setting it for to succeed in professional practice. I'm giving you a safe place to fail so you can set yourself up to succeed. Okay. Flavia has a question inside of the chat there. Can you see it?
Yes, I see it. So here's the thing about Sticker Mule, copyright laws and logos. So it has to get through their their rules in regards to how much of a likeness it is. But fandom and pop culture, I think, you probably have a better idea of what, I'm not even like social media, to be honest. I don't have a Facebook or an Instagram account. And so I feel kind of lucky that I knew what Game of Thrones was, because it was a book first. So I think that you probably have a better grasp on that, students, than I do. And that is part of why I reach out to other people for input, because just because I don't get it doesn't mean it's not good. Colin had to explain to me what the Supreme sticker was, I fully admit, and that one has been around forever. So as for things to avoid, remember that this is high school. And so part of the rules that I have in place for my slams is that the content and language is approved by the teachers, that it essentially passes the muster of the high school. Like, this is appropriate for a high school stage because this is an all ages family friendly event. So I would probably stay away from things that are politically aligned, especially because as the public library is a neutral political entity. And I would stay away from things that are offensive or overly vulgar. I'm trying to think of what my actual language in the student contract is. It's explicit material, basically. Does that make sense?
Bhavya, does that answer your question? What I'm doing right now is what you should be doing, and I should probably stop. And this is a large part of our design is that meta work, right? This isn't actual designing, but it's a part of the work. This is that shallow work. That shallow work is, well, what size are these images going to be, and what are my sticker options? And Sticker Mule actually provides templates in here, and I feel like I'm giving too much away here, but all of this work is work about the work. And one of them is about we found it's somewhere in here that talks a lot about copyright and ownership and things you can and can't use, and we'll get into, and later on in class we're going to actually talk about licensing and patents and copyright and all of those things. But yeah, this is a part of the job, because the myth here, right, and here's the student myth. Instructor, you go out, you get all the information, you package it up in a nice 8.5 by 11 sheet, and you tell me exactly what to do, and I do those things. And if your instructions are bad, then that my product is bad. And a professional designer says, I'm going to figure out everything I need to do, right? So I understand the project, okay? And this is where a lot of that is shifting here. Is like, you're going to have to go through this and figure out, well, what I can and cannot do. Anybody else?
I got another one more. I may have misheard, so I'm sorry. But did you mention you oversee the North District of this event, correct?
So where I started with this is I used to be the Deer Park community librarian, and the Deer Park Library is in the city of Deer Park, but it serves essentially the north side of the Spokane County area. And so I worked mostly with Deer Park and Riverside school districts, but just because of overlap, Newport and Lakeside school districts as well. And then I changed roles and helped people in the Valley area start the Valley Slam. And then just as my job has changed, I've continued to just implement and oversee the slams. So the community librarians work specifically with the school districts to help them with their in-house, but I do the regional slams. Yeah, it's just as my job changed, and it was that, do I keep doing this even though it's geographically specific? And the answer was yes, please do. So I did.
I have a couple questions. Is there an existing style guide that affects this project at all?
There is not. Not for stickers. And Spokane County Library District has a communications department. So we essentially have internal marketing. And when the fall class does posters, yes, there is. Because it has the SCLD logo on it, which means it absolutely has to be approved by the communications department. Big surprise, they want brand control. So not for stickers though. This is a lot more loosey-goosey, creative, and just almost anything goes.
And that's true of a lot of companies, right? You're going to have to get through not just your bosses and your direct managers, but you're going to have to get through marketing. You're going to have to get through human resources. You're going to have to get through legal, which is what we're looking at right now. Legal is going to look at this and go, no, we're going to offend too many people, or we're going to, right? And it's not going to be worth the risk. We had a student last quarter that was fighting me on the Batman logo. And I said, no. And she said, well, what if I get a contract written up that makes me not liable, right? And puts all of the weight on the client. I go, let me hear you out. You want SCLD to say they're going to take full ownership of you using the Batman logo? And the student said to me, yes. I go, all right, so if I went to SCLD and said, hey, SCLD's lawyers, right? SCLD's lawyers are just going to say, no, it's not worth our time, right? And it's not worth our expense for us to use the Batman logo, right? What is the likelihood of DC Comics actually suing SCLD? Pretty small, but the legal team at SCLD is going to say, no, it's not worth the risk. All right.
Well, an actual example of this is Bob Ross. Bob Ross painting classes.
Yep.
The Salt Lake City Library down in Utah, a fabulous program in the summer of 2018 with, they streamed YouTube videos of Bob Ross and had people come in and paint. And they got shut down by the Bob Ross Foundation. And so SCLD did Bob Ross painting, and we had to go through the legal side of it to get it approved by them. And we had to hire a Bob Ross, like somebody who had gone to Bob Ross school essentially in Florida and used Bob Ross Foundation materials. And we did it all on the up and up, and it was all fine and dandy. But these things really do exist, and libraries do get attention for them. And not always in a good way.
And a lot of what this class is about. Where is parody and where is copyright infringement? Right?
Yeah.
Where are all the gray areas? And this is all the stuff that we're learning. You all violate licensing all the time. All the time. Why? Because you're using fonts that you don't own. And so say you make a print piece, you put it on or you put up a billboard, right? And the owner of that typeface says, no, you didn't buy the license to make this billboard. Cease and desist. You're going to have to take down the billboard. And the client's going to be like, well, how come you didn't check this? And then this is what you can't say. I didn't know I had to pay for a typeface. I didn't know I had to license a typeface. And this is what we're going to talk about, all that stuff later on. Is like, how do you actually license a typeface? All those fonts that you use, do you have the right to use them? And in what way do you have the right to use them? And this is what we're practicing here.
Bill Watterson, creator of Calvin and Hobbes, has never, ever, ever sold any creative rights to Calvin and Hobbes, which is why there are no calendars or mugs or t-shirts. Everything you ever see has been illegally done.
Amber actually introduced me to this, right? Every time I see this on the back of a car, I'm like, that's a complete and direct violation, right? And if Bill Watterson, got bored one day, I'm going to sue everybody that is using my intellectual property, he could.
I kind of hope he does. Maybe he's got some time on his hands now.
I hope he does too, right? But this is Colin, how is this related to us? Well, we're not going to run too much longer here. Is You're going to be making your own stuff in this class, stuff that I want you to own. I want people in this class to someday make a typeface, and I want someone to actually pay for that. I want you to design original things in this class, right, that you own, right, and that you get paid for, right? And that's important.
Are you going to talk about how people, some of the sticker creators are selling their stickers?
Yeah.
Is that a different?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Okay.
a different lecture, but we can get into it.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I would add along those lines, though, is that the agreement you have creating these with SCLD is that we get to use them, and we do accredit the creator of them, but the friends who are essentially, purchasing these as gifts, we have not necessarily sold any of these stickers, but people definitely offered to buy them from me, and no, so I don't know if we'll ever go that route, because it's not really in SCLD's capacity, but it would be in the Friends. It's a nonprofit organization to sell like leftovers at their book sale or something like that.
In future lectures, we're going to talk about how to create a contract for this particular project, and a part of that contract is how to do transfer of ownership. At what point do you have to transfer that over? You're going to do work for Nike or Adidas or Apple or Microsoft, and you can't say, no, Microsoft, I own this because I made it. No, we paid you money to make this thing. Now give it to us. Right? Welcome to being a professional. Right? This is all the things that we're learning here in this class. Okay. Any last? Go ahead.
Does everybody understand the ask from me from SCLD?
Do you repeat that? It cut out.
So I want to make sure that everybody understands the ask from SCLD on this in regards to the stickers and their content.
You're wanting a sticker pack about 6 to 8, correct? For Northern and Valley and Grand Slam.
So not the Grand Slam.
Okay.
So and as you saw from that, collection, well, there was one Northern and one Valley specific. The rest of them. So again, this is sort of that more bang for my buck. So like the sticker packs that the students got at the Northern Slam, if you bring that up, Colin, was the Northern Slam, the Throne, the Bird, the Octopus, and Poetry Slam. So they got those 5 stickers, and the Valley Slam got Valley Slam, the Throne, the Bird, the Octopus, and Poetry Slam. So that I can share between them, and then they each have one specific to them. This still meant I bought 6 stickers.
So I guess a question that I do have is, in like 15 words or less, what message do you want to convey with the stickers? Is there what's pushing, what do you want these stickers to mean to the students? I guess.
What I appreciate, don't word count me on this.
Oh yeah.
About each of these is that they are clever and different, and they, some of them are just a good play on an existing concept that is specific to poetry, and then you've got one like Bird Noises, which is just interesting. And I had somebody with the Bird Noises one say, "Oh, I'm gonna write I was like, I know it's not poetry related." She's like, "I'm gonna write a poem about it." I was like, okay, way to bring that round, I guess. But as that, what they convey is, it's great if they can be poetry related, but I also understand that, you might run out of, if you're having to come up with 100 sketches, you might run out of what could be poetry related. Yeah. I don't know if I had a good answer for a good question, though.
That was good. Thank you.
All right.
I got a last one. We already went past the location issue, and we know that the students love these stickers. Were there maybe any other small or additional pros and cons that you saw with this sticker project?
I think that the con we're addressing by asking the spring quarter to design them, because the con was the amount of stickers I had to buy in a short period of time meant, generally speaking, and Sticker Mill, by the way, is fabulous for doing bulk discounts, but when they do their deals, it's really much more affordable. So that con was the expense. And we're addressing that by doing this now. The pro of it was really, they were so well received, and the students were just excited, I think, to have something different. And they're unique, and it's not like they could just hop online and somebody else could buy this sticker. They got this, and it was unique to their participation in this event.
All right, thank you.
Could we get your contact information just to have that option?
I'm gonna so how we do this with all client projects is I'm gonna create a shared page that we can all put our questions on, and that Amber can access. Otherwise, she might get the same question 20 times, you know, which has happened in the past. So.
It's not the end of the world, but I know how to copy and paste. But yeah, and then sometimes we'll have questions that other people haven't had yet, but it's a good thing for everybody to know.
Okay. Any last questions? I'm trying to be sensitive to our time here.
Good.
All right. So I'm gonna not take up any more of Amber's day. So everyone, let's give her a digital round of applause, or digital. Thank you for your time.
Oh, you guys, thank you. When your success on this is my success. So I appreciate your questions. I appreciate that you are working on this, and I know that I will get good products out of it, because I always have, which is why I continue in this partnership with Eastern. I've never been let down. So thank you guys so much. Take care, be well, and Colin, I'll go ahead and sign off. If you've got anything for me, you know how to get a hold of me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, have a good day, everyone.
You too.
All right, y'all. I'm going to cut this a little bit short here, because we ran over for so long. Colin, I don't want to think about copyright. I don't want to think about any of the legal stuff. Great, hire a lawyer. Colin, I don't want to manage my own time. I don't want to think about this. I just want to do design work and be left alone. Great, hire a personal assistant. All right. I don't want to think about the money aspect of this. Hire an accountant. You see where we're going with this? Like, there's a lot of meta things that surround a project. This is what we're talking about: meta work, deep work versus shallow work. Okay, and all those things need to be addressed. Okay, and I just want you to kind of keep this in mind as we're working through this. Let's think about this. We had nearly 2,000 logos. 2,000 sticker designs. Okay, and I could talk more about some of the Alexis, like some of the negative aspects of this. We can talk about that. Okay, but
Okay.
as the client really is positive and great to work with, right? I'm the bear. I'm the difficult one in this, right? And I wear that with pride. Like, I am the challenging one on this project. Okay, and this is on record. Good.
Yeah.
All right. There's a lot of stuff we need to think about, and this is what I'm getting us ready for. What have I been saying the first 2 weeks? We need to get ready to do work.
When are you wanting the 100 sketches by?
You can start that now. I gotta look at my schedule and see. Right, it's not going to be 100 at a time. Again, using the university request, we're going to break that up. Before, it was like, just give me 100 on this date.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break that up into like 25, 25, 25. These are
Sounds good.
good.
Mhm.
All right. Are we meeting again at 1:30? Ellie, is that a different class?
No, I think we probably set that on accident because I remember you said something 1:30 on Monday, and even on Notion it said 1:30 as well. So I think that maybe that been an error.
We were
Oh
all
my. Oh, that's embarrassing. Now you all can yell at me. That's on record. I messed up. All right. I cannot. I'm sorry. Between my 5 classes, keeping the days and
Yeah, I
times has
figured.
been struggling. So this is my. Thank you for being attentive to that. Thank you for reading my emails. I appreciate it.
alright.
But so my mistake. So if
That's all right.
if you plan for anything at 1:30, or if you canceled anything at 1:30, I'm very, very sorry. I hope
No
not. I
worries.
hope no one. I hope no one had to like a Zoom date that they had to cancel. Okay. All right.
I think we're good.
We could do Zoom dates. We could do Zoom speed dating. Okay, go. I'm gonna think about the Zoom speed dating another time. All right. Have a good day.